Lawmakers in Warsaw have drafted a bill to spend over 350 million euros to build a wall along its border with Belarus. That border is 400 kilometers long. Poland has already installed barbed wire fencing to deter the growing number of migrants attempting to cross into the EU. It's also deployed thousands of soldiers to turn them back in contravention of international law. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko is accused of facilitating migration into the EU as a form of retaliation for EU sanctions. Hundreds of people are now believed to be stranded. DW correspondent Jack Perek is on the ground in eastern Poland, where he met with migrants freezing in the forest and local volunteers trying to help.
Freezing, starving, and losing hope. We found this Iranian couple through local activists who answered their call for help in the middle of the night. They had been sitting for hours under a tree near the eastern Polish village of Klebenka. The woman told us she had just lost her unborn child.
I tumbled 6 days ago and fell down. I bled, and now I am not pregnant anymore.
The couple say they've been pushed back and forth in the sealed-off border zone between Poland and Belarus for 10 days after leaving Minsk.
The Belarusian police took all the money we gave them to buy us food and to activate our prepaid SIM cards, but they never brought us anything. They emptied our pockets, and at night they took us by force to the border. We have now spent 3 days in the forest.
These volunteers who've left their own children home alone to come and help, give them food and water, and try to get them warm.
For us, it's like watching a tsunami coming in. And we just catch the drops and try to help the drops, which are human beings, so we cannot ignore them. But we cannot stop that tsunami. The people that are in power are able, should be able, to stop that.
The volunteers call the border guards, who arrive nearly 3 hours after us. The couple have been told they must not say they want to go to Germany, which is the destination of choice for most. Saying that means they'll likely be returned to Belarus.
Sir, can you tell us whether they will be given the fair process to asylum that they deserve?
The couple stumble into the car with the border guards.
These people have now been taken away by the border guards. We don't know exactly where they will end up, but they're not the only people we've been in contact with here in the region.
Videos of 3 children sleeping on the freezing ground were sent to us from an Iraqi phone number just hours earlier. They sent us their location, which was over the border in Belarus.
Please help me, please. Please help me.
We contacted this family through Renata, a local woman who showed us pictures of her providing them with food.
I was afraid of penalties, but as a human being, I have the right to help other people, to help another person, right?
Renata lives within the newly created exclusion zone at the border. Border guards refuse entry to anyone who doesn't live in the area, checking every car. It's 3 kilometers wide and runs the whole way up the frontier. Poland's border guards released this video, which they say shows Belarus's Alexander Lukashenko is preparing to send many more people. Untold numbers of people remain stranded in this vast forest, already bitterly cold and with winter coming.
And DW's Jack Perek, who filed that report, joins us now from Warsaw. Jack, authorities say the number of migrants attempting to cross from Belarus into Poland is increasing. What's behind that? What's driving it?
Well, the Polish government blames the Belarusians. They say that Alexander Lukashenko, the man who claims the presidency in Belarus, is instrumentalizing these migrants and sending them across the border to create this crisis. We know that somewhere in the region of sort of 400 to 600 people a day are being intercepted by the Polish border guards. They say that since this crisis began, since this year, they have prevented 18,300 people from entering Poland in that exclusion zone. The question is now, will Alexander Lukashenko and will the Belarusians push more people across the border? And what will happen as it gets ever colder as we enter the winter months?
Tell us more, Jack, about how Poland is dealing with this crisis and how much help they're getting from the EU, because this is the EU's external border.
Yeah, Poland says that they are basically protecting the EU's external border and that they're doing the job that they're meant to do for the European Union. Now, there was an EU Commission delegation that came to the border zone about a week or so ago, but we understand that they didn't actually enter that exclusion zone, which is where everything is taking place and where it's very difficult to get information about what's going on because only people that live in the area can access it, no journalists, no NGOs. We also know that the EU's border agency, Frontex, also visited Poland. We know that they visited the border guards, but we believe that they may not have gone all the way to the border with Belarus as well. Poland says it's getting this situation under control, but clearly the humanitarian situation in that exclusion zone is difficult. We've seen pretty terrible things on the outside of that exclusion zone.
Tell us just how difficult it is, Jack, to get clear, accurate information from the region there, that border region. How hard is it to report from the exclusion zone?
It's extremely difficult for a number of reasons, Terry. We can't get into that exclusion zone, as we've said, but also it is huge. The border area is massive. That forest is dense, so we don't know exactly where all of these people, 650 people might sound like quite a lot, but in that vast forest, it's difficult to know where they are, where they're trying to cross, and this has been the huge problem for the activists. I'll also tell you, Terry, that when we first started meeting some of these activists, they were extremely scared about repercussions from the Polish authorities, from their local society in their towns and their villages. We had meetings with them where we were asked to put our phones outside to ensure that we weren't recording them and recording exactly who they were. And that's because the information, and that basically means that the information is very difficult to get. In order to find where these people are, to speak to these refugees and asylum seekers and migrants, we had to get the information from those activists. So, as you say, the difficulty in reporting exactly what's going on is very difficult. We've only seen it from the outside of the exclusion zone, and it's hard to know the things that might be going on within the exclusion area.
Of course, it'd be very interesting to know what's going on the other side of that border in Belarus, but reporting from there is virtually impossible. Jack, thank you so much. That was our correspondent, Jack Parrott, there in Poland.